Yes, sir. We are here, and this is the Sniper and the Pundit presents Top Rope Talk. In fact, let's bring the pundit in right now. I'm the sniper, he's the pundit, and this is Top Rope Talk. And before we get started, just want to let everybody know to catch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, DBTV, and Stream TV. We got tons of replays on Stream TV going on right now, so definitely check this out at Sideline Sports on there. Also, hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell at Sideline Sports on YouTube for more updates, videos. We've got shows all week long. Well, this week's kind of a partial week because it's Thanksgiving week. You know what I mean? So we're gonna have Top Rope Talk tonight. There may or may not be a picked off tomorrow. Pundit's Pundit is going to be Wednesday, which I got family coming in and everything. And well, actually, I'm actually going out there, so I got to prepare for that. And then there's no gauntlet this week. So next week we'll be back in full force. But definitely check us out. We're winding down 2023. It's going to be tons of stuff to come. So please tune in and check us out and follow us. We're also on Twitter, and I'm also on Twitch, as well as the pundit himself. He is on Twitch. So find us and follow us. I'm at Denzel Sniper 13, and you're at on Twitch, Jake the Pundit.
Oh, Jake the Pundit, well, of course.
Yep, Jake the Pundit, just like his other 10 social media platforms.
Oh, yeah, because of course. No, all I can say is like on April Fool's Day we will be different. I will be the sniper, you'll be the pundit.
Yeah, and maybe I'll grow a full head of gray hair, and then you can shave yours bald.
Now that would be funny, actually.
That'd be great.
The difference is though, when you shave yours, you can just be able to work it every day. Mine would grow back in about 4 days.
Mine grows about that fast.
Oh,
that's why I've had to do it like every day. You know.
What made you go with the bald look?
I do it every year, if not every other year. Normally around the summertime, but I'm actually in the process of. Well, I'm thinking about growing it back, but I don't know. We'll see.
I can see you're gonna look like Jimmy Butler, like in that one picture.
Probably. Well, not. Well, maybe not that ridiculous, but maybe during his days in Philly.
Right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get started. This is the AEW Full Gear Recap episode. Now, we won't do every single match. We'll get to some of them, probably more of the bigger matches. But I saw it was a hell of a pay-per-view. AEW delivers as usual. I know Bleacher Report rated it about a B or something like that. I would go as far as saying probably an A-. But AEW Full Gear, delivered like any other pay-per-view in AEW's history. And
let me say this. One thing about the Full Gear, I noticed this part. They filled their stands, but when AEW first came around, that was like, remember, they said that you couldn't get 10,000 people and they get like 16.
Yeah.
And then they were saying, and then they go to England a few years later and they get to 71 or 81,000 or something.
Yeah.
But lately, I don't know what it is that they're losing some of their thing, but lately you're seeing they're filling their stands, but it's not as easy. You're seeing empty spots in certain areas and they're having to come in later. Like, you have to wonder if it's the product that people are there or if they just come to the star power.
Yeah, it might be the latter. But, I mean, shoot, they should come for the whole thing because you never know who may have that moment that's going to, get them pushed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But speaking of which, we'll start off with and this happened on AEW 0 Hour, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship. So, Adam Cole, who is the other half of the tag team champions with MJF, he's injured and he recently had surgery, but they didn't strip him of the titles or anything. So Samoa Joe came out this past AEW Dynamite and said, if I help you, MJF, will you give me a world title match? MJF agreed. So MJF came out there with Samoa Joe, and together they defeated the Young Guns. So I ask you, is this the beginning? I'm talking about MJF and Samoa Joe. Is this setting up to be the possible rivalry of the year in 2024?
Absolutely, but here's the thing about this, though. MJF, his character sets up, himself also. He's not even really a character, it's himself. He sets himself up to be the smartest guy in the room, heel or face. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How does this work with Joe's little walk away thing? Like when when you dive off the rope and he flips it off while you fall flat.
Yeah.
And does that and flips you off, does all that stuff. How does that work with that when MJF does not want to look stupid? It's like he does not want to look stupid too often. He'll do. I mean, it's like that's what's going to be very interesting. Will MJF do that spot, or will there be a situation where MJF pretends to jump and does that stuff and he catches Joe?
And you know what? I think it would be the latter.
Yeah, it's like because that's the big thing. It's like every other guy who does not worry about splatting. They're not like Travis Kelsey against that little guy in that ad, where he's the one that gets hurt.
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey ain't afraid to be vulnerable like that. He's kind of a goof.
Yeah.
But MJF doesn't want to look stupid. So that's going to be interesting. Is that one spot?
Yeah. Yeah, I think move for move, it definitely can
it'd be awesome.
be rivalry of the year. I mean, because it's like a contest between who could be the biggest asshole. Now keep in mind that as much as the crowd loves MJF, Joe has a following too.
You want to know about Joe though? Here's the thing. Remember when Joe? This is how you need to remember when Joe came out in that final ROH match with that really hard entrance. He needs to come out to that entrance.
Oh wow!
He needs to come out to that entrance at one of their pay-per-views, or PLEs or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like he needs to come out to something like that, something that hard, just to be able to get to that thing. Because is it going to be an awesome match? Oh, good Lord, yes. It'll be an amazing match. Especially someone as big as Joe can sell like he can.
Yeah, of course.
He'll get that thing. So my point about it is there's a couple of spots where Joe makes look like an idiot. And will the MJF run for it?
Yeah.
Will he go for it? It's like it doesn't fit him if he just automatically falls for that goofy spot.
Yeah, that's true. One thing about Samoa Joe, if there's anyone, I mean, since and I'm talking about like back in when Joe was in WWE before he crossed over to AEW. If there's anyone in the last, let's see, and Lesnar's been back in WWE for 11 years now.
Yeah.
If there's anyone that will in your face wasn't scared of Lesnar, was Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was the only dude that, like, how Brock Lesnar hunts people? He's the only dude that would hunt Brock Lesnar down.
Oh, I know. And see, that should have been a 2 out of 3.
Yes, absolutely.
That should have been a 2 out of 3. It's like because Brock would lose. Brock's never been afraid to lose.
Yeah.
So that should have been a 2 out of 3 event. And he did not need to win and then win that way like he did and then end it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really should have been a 2 out of 3 matchup between those two. But move on to our next one here, and that is the AEW International Championship. So Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley had a repeat. This time, Cassidy came out on top. After this, do you think Cassidy should be pushed higher following this match? Maybe not world title status, but maybe go for TNT title
I hate Orange. Orange Cassidy's the Jay Cutler of wrestling. I cannot stand that character. I cannot. I mean, our little dog pockets, like Cornette calls them. I just don't. My little dog pockets. Yeah, I calls them that just because. But no, the issue I have is I'm the same with Cornette in this little way. Somebody is better. You watch them when they finally get off. You know how good they are. It's kind of like Cutler. You know how good they are, but they want to play this character and they want to get that character's lazy. See, we know it's a character, but the character's very, very lazy, and it's a lazy deal. And Orange Cassidy's that good, so it drives you crazy. But but I listened to ask if he should be pushed following the match. It's hard for me to see it because I remember a King Kong Bundy interview. He was saying wrestling is supposed to be stature. Moxley is a big enough guy. He's a big enough guy. I mean, decent size.
Right.
Cassie's itty bitty, and he's itty bitty, and he doesn't. And it's like it's not itty bitty like Pac, like X Pac. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not itty bitty like X Pac. And where you see him knocking down Undertaker because he's kicking you.
Right.
I don't believe his moves. I don't believe his offense. I just think truthfully, I have a thing. There's professional wrestling. Let's see. Well, let's just say this. Gunther,
Right.
professional wrestling. Chad Gable, professional wrestling. We're going to say those guys that know how to sell and stuff. And then you know what it is? It's a Marvel movie. Then the other
Ah,
end is the end is a Marvel movie. Fly through the air, you knock down the biggest, or it's a video game
your
where the
your
littlest
your
guy knocks off.
ricochets and all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's those types, and it's like I don't like it personally, but there's a reason there's 16,000 in a crowd, 20,000 in a crowd because not everybody's going to watch just for the badasses.
That's
Some
true.
watch for people they assume are badasses.
Assume. Yeah. Very, very, very true. And well, let's see our next one here, and that is so Ricky Starks and Big Bill retained the AEW World Tag Team titles in a four-way ladder match. But even going beyond that, and Ricky Starks and Big Bill, they formed they're quite the tag team as of late. It seems like with Big Bill, and you remember him in WWE
Yes,
with
I
Enzo
do.
Amore and everything.
All
Uh,
I know is who gave him that name? Who gave him that name? I'm like, is there like, was he thinking, well, there's something that Vince can't steal?
Big Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Woohoo! It's like you know what it sounds like? It sounds like a jobber in an indie that's on their first match.
it sounds like okay. Okay. You want to know what Big Bill sounds like?
Hmm.
The antagonist if Tombstone had a sequel.
Yes, Big Bill. Another thing, it sounds like he needs to be bringing. It sounds like he needs to bring his little buddy back and everything like that. It's like, oh, George, can I have a rabbit, George? Well, shut
Yeah.
up.
well, I reckon,
No, remember that cartoon?
the baddest guy in town over there, you got to round up Big Bill. Big Bill,
Yeah,
who's Big Bill? Big
you.
Bill, that man could put away a gallon of whiskey in 2 hours, and he's
Yeah,
robbed 6 banks and 8 stagecoaches. That's what that sounds like.
yes, exactly. But I'm just saying, who's his little buddy in WWE?
Enzo Amore.
Yeah, Enzo. He needs to bring Enzo in, then they can do a stupid comedy act, kind of like the Looney Tunes. Oh, George, can I have a rabbit, George? I'm gonna hug him and kiss him.
Yeah,
Shut up.
yeah. But even as far as the match itself, but in overall in general, how much of an impact has because it'll never get old, How much of an impact has the tag team title ladder match been throughout history? I'm talking about like out of like any league, any promotion.
Problem is, it has too much of an impact. It's good or bad. It has an impact, no question. But you get the ones that still want to wrestle, and you got to put them in there
Yeah.
just because it has that. And I'm like, they don't belong in there. It's kind of like putting Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard in if you put them back from the let's see, Time Machine.
Right.
You'd have to throw them in there. It's like Arn Anderson ain't going off ladders, but you're forced to put that in there. Those types, Dash and sorry, I'm thinking of the name Dash and but from
Dash
the
and FTR.
FTR. Yeah, thank you. It's like putting FTR into that. It's like FTR needs to be doing amazing. They need to have the equivalent of the Rockers, like those things, and having these things. They don't belong there, but because it has such an impact, they're going to be in that. And it's like you're ruining the point.
Mm.
So I don't like it for a reason. As I said, there's things I don't agree with Cornette. There's things I do. The reason I don't like this type of deal is because it's not. There's just not a league for the tag team ladder match or whatever. Everybody has to get into it eventually,
Of course.
which ruins tag teams, ones that are wanting to be legit.
Yeah. Well, you go okay. So go back to like WrestleMania 2000, right? And then there was Edge and Christian versus the Hardys versus the Dudley Boys,
I got
right?
the other boys, yeah.
And that was a banger of a match. A lot of people called it match of the night. So
Yep.
then they had the rematch the next year WrestleMania at WrestleMania 17.
Yeah.
And it's like, but how do you follow up last year? And they did.
Yeah. Well, see, part of you want to know the biggest thing about that is for instance, the Hardys. If you're looking at if you're looking at psychology,
Mhm.
Hardys are easily the smaller of everybody.
Of course.
Even Edge has always been bigger than he looks.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Christian's around the same, but Edge has always been bigger than he looks, and the Dudleys are gorillas.
Yeah.
They're a couple of gorillas. So, how do you get him to sell? Throw him off.
Don't want the ladder.
You know what I
Oops.
mean?
Yeah.
Throw him off a ladder. Do those things. I mean, what happened? I don't know what happened there. But
Yeah.
But no, throw him off the ladder, do those spots. Yeah, guess what? That's going to hurt anybody.
Oh, of course.
So those were the things with that. But it's like it's like a cage match to me, like with a singles cage match. The cage match should not be a pay per view. It should be to finish up a rivalry. This should be the tag team version of finishing it up.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be constant because then you get the setting them on fire, which happens now.
Yep.
Then you get the glass, and you got to do what? How do you follow that? The one thing about Mick Foley is that flying off the cage is a forever moment in time.
Of course.
I mean, which 50 other people have done now, but it's a forever moment in time. But he really started something back. Is how do you top it?
Yeah.
How do you top it? He accidentally started something really bad because now it is not as simple as just beat. Remember, the cage match used to be we're just kicking the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
We're just killing. Look at that cage. Look at that. Look at that whole thing. Look at when you see that the Hell in a Cell. Look at that thing. That thing should just say you don't need. One of my favorites, believe it or not, is the Triple H and Nash.
Yeah.
And the reason.
Oh, in Hell in a Cell.
Yes.
Yes.
The reason it is my favorite. Like I said, that is my favorite one. I'm not saying the thing. There are others. Of course, there's Shawn and there's Undertaker. There is that. I mean, there are favorites.
But I'm curious though. How was Triple H versus Nash your favorite?
I'm just saying it's not a favorite like Shawn and Taker, obviously, but it's a low down favorite. The reason is because Nash couldn't do anything stupid. His legs were gone.
Yeah.
So it's just a couple of hosses beating each other up.
Very true.
Which is what that cage needed to be. Inside, that's like a jail cell. It's like a jail cell in a riot.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. Mind you, I love the idea of I love Shawn and Taker, and I love certain things. But Nash and Triple H is what Boss Man and Taker should have been.
Yeah.
It wasn't. And that's what it should have been. Just a couple of hosses just crushing each other.
You know the reason why a lot of people, and I get Hell in a Cell 98, most definitely. But you know what really sold it about the first ever Hell in a Cell with Shawn and Taker is because, number one, we saw what it was like when you lock Triple H and China out and they can't bail out Shawn.
Yeah.
Number two, we had seen Shawn take some ass whoopings, but we never seen him in that. Like, Shawn looked like he was in a legitimate violent car wreck.
Yeah.
And he was crawling and running away from Taker.
Yeah. And then,
we'd never seen Shawn in that light before. Then he flies off the cage and through the table with the crimson mask on, and like we'd never seen Shawn like that ever.
No, don't take the thing wrong. Nash and Triple H is not better than Shawn, and they don't get that wrong. What I'm saying, that's an all-time great. What I'm saying with it is the idea of the psychology, knowing Nash as a wrestler couldn't do stupid spots. His body and legs were gone. So it was exactly what the cell should be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, Shawn understands. Shawn did spots, but he understood it as a fight. That's what the difference was. He understood it as a fight. He acted like it was a fight.
Yeah.
And I don't like that cage being used as a spots. That needs to be that cell needed to be Nakamura and Rollins.
Yeah.
That is and she's out there, she's kissing him goodbye. That is war.
Yeah.
That's what that should have been. He coming out in his riot gear. Those two at it in that cell. That's what that rivalry should have been.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Speaking of seeing people in bloodied up lights, and this, in my opinion, was the match of the night. Texas Death Match. Swerve Strickland beat Hangman Adam Page at his own match in his own game. And I mean, it was a doozy. We saw a sadistic side of Strickland where he took like a staple gun and he was stapling himself. Like it was crazy. They were flying through, they were choking each other with barbed wire, flying through barbed wire tables, hitting each other with barbed wire chairs, like just crazy. And finally on the outside, Hangman couldn't answer the 10 count because it was by knockout or by 10 count,
Yeah.
and Strickland came out with a victory. And I mean, to anyone at home who hadn't seen this, see if you can go see clips of it. It was great. I've got it as a match of the year candidate, but Strickland surviving a match like that, should he be main event status, title contender following this match?
Yeah.
Considering not only this, but the type of character he is, he's got a following and everything. And he's like this dark. And you know what? It's crazy because, like, he isn't like the typical. So, like, you look at the black characters in wrestling, right? You got like the Bobby Lashley's, that's
Yeah.
just like the strong man, right? And then
Yeah.
you got like the Farouks, who was like the, he was the APA poker player. Before that, he was the, the militant nation of domination type of
Yeah.
dude. And then everyone else, every other is pretty much they got like kind of a hip hop element to him or whatever. But you look at
Yeah.
Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland's got like this semi-sadistic, demonic type of deal with him, like for a black wrestler, it's unconventional, but it works. So, your thoughts about that?
That's what I love about it. That's what I'm saying. You got to realize it's kind of demonic. I'll just say it. It's the kind of demonic, basically black gangster type thing. This kind of stuff. That's my buddy. That's my buddy that wrestles. You know what I'm saying? It's like his type of thing. I should send you his. I should send you his promo sometime. He's amazing. Over, Trevor Young. I should send you his stuff. His stuff's amazing. But yeah, it's like the demonic thing. It's him. That's I've been seeing this for years. But the thing about this is what we just brought up now, Swerve Strickland and everything like that. That's a fight that I was talking about from that last match, and the whole idea of what I think a cell should be, which is why I don't like when they take blood away. I don't want it all the time, but when they talk about, we got to go for the kids, it's like you don't think kids haven't seen blood before. It's like when you are bringing a war, and that's why it was a fun deal. That Nakamura versus, every time I think of that match, I think that's what you see with Swerve Strickland and Hangman. That's what those two should have been in a cell, and I mean just like Shawn, and both of them were like Shawn, just bloodied up, and made a last man standing.
Yeah.
And like I said, and it would be in the riot gear and no screwing around. And that's what this match was, and this is the point. It needed to be like that.
It does. I mean, this thing just delivered in all. He hit the dead eye on his assistant on the outside through a table. I thought that probably was the spot of the match, but they with them two have formed a rivalry like they did, and Swerve Strickland like came at his family and everything, and then they were ordered that they couldn't touch each other until this match, or else they'd be suspended for the rest of the year and the match would be off. And then the way Hangman came out there and tried to like goad him into attacking him, and then was like, "Oh well, you can't attack me," but they didn't say nothing about your assistant. He lays a beat down on his assistant and everything, and then they had to come and separate him. And Strickland was like, they couldn't touch him. So Strickland, they just took everything out on each other in this matchup, and it was great. I thought it was. I didn't think it was over the top at all. You look at because here's my thing. People, some critics will say, "Oh, well, they went over the top or whatever. It's blood and blah blah blah." But you watch a Japanese death match with the same parameters, you got nothing to say about them.
I love I'll tell you, I love the stipulation. You can't touch each other until that end. I love that constantly. It forces. It is a stipulation that Vince Russo could not do. He could not do it. Heck, I mean, Cornette said it himself. He said next week. He said the next week after Taker, after Taker got tombstoned in that thing, he wanted Taker to get the revenge. I mean, Russo wanted Taker to get revenge by putting him through a table, like the next week. And it's like, how? Well, what is this going to do for Kane, you idiot?
Yeah.
And it's like, and that was the point of what they were talking. That's the point of what you say. It's like you have to think something else when you can't touch each other.
You do.
I like that idea. I love the idea. It's like it should only be used for the absolute we're going to kill each other. It should only be used for that once every couple of years, probably. But it works. And that's the thing. And then it makes a match like that.
It does. It just brings out the best in all of it. Next match, another one we can cover. So the odd tag team of the Golden Jets, Chris Jericho and Kenny
Holy
Omega
shit.
defeated the Young Bucks, and they are going to receive an AEW World Tag Title opportunity. So how much stock do you put into Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega as a tag team?
For one, I mean, I want to see Jericho just do music and retire. It's like he's still decent enough, but he's older than Hogan was when he did it years ago. You know what I mean? When they wrestle, he's older than him now. I mean, he's still decent enough shape, but you're just gonna beat yourself half to death. Just get yourself in the music. But young when you and I said, it's also Young Bucks. I can't stand them.
Yeah, I know you don't like them.
It's horrible. But I mean, Kenny Olivier. Well, Kenny Olivier, we got that. So I mean, this just looks like one is going to be turning on the other.
Yeah.
It just looks like one's turning on the other. They're just both gigantic egos. Who's going face and who's going heel?
Pretty much. I mean, they can work that out however they wanna. Well,
Jericho's been a babyface 4,500 times.
He's also been a heel
he
4,500 times.
Huh?
He's also been a heel 4,500 times.
Yeah. The same as Big Show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Same as Big Show, and I'm not going to call him Paul White. We're not doing this thing. But no, it's the same as Show. It's like they've been facing heel too much, but it's like Omega's a little different in the fact that it's like he's not in an era where he just goes automatic. He just decides what he wants to do.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like he can heel or face it, but it's like he doesn't go 3, 4, 5 years in one setting. I mean, Jericho. You got to remember Jericho's first 3 years in WCW were babyface.
Yeah.
So he's gone 2, 3, 4 years. I don't think Omega has in that same. Maybe you can correct me or somebody can correct me. I don't think they've gone that long as in one spot.
Yeah. Jericho went face. The next time he went face, he was in WWE. Outside of that time in WCW. So, but also at the same time, it was when he went heel was when he blew up. Jericho, he was a face, but he was a low card opening match. No one knows this dude type of deal unless you really follow him from around the world. It wasn't until he went heel. Remember when we started making fun of Dean Malenko's dad and all of that? Like that was when the real like asshole Jericho really came out. You know what I mean? Because it was like, oh man, you're gonna come at it.
I think Chris Jericho is a tremendous babyface. He's great from working under.
He is.
He's also a great heel, so he's both. Omega, you want to know what I think about? I can just say this. I already said about my little thing about the Bucks, but you want to know what I think about Omega? I feel like he's a wannabe actor that doesn't want to put in the work. He doesn't want. I've been an actor. I still work it from time to time. I get on the stage. I will do that. I feel like he loves the idea of the theater. They said it themselves. Dusty Rhodes said it himself. There are no takes in wrestling. You get all the emotion out in minutes. I get the feeling, though, Kenny Omega is the lazy version of what he wants to be as an actor. He wants to be as a performer. He does the performance thing. He loves it. But wrestling is reacting, which he likes. Acting is acting. It is understanding people. You know what I'm saying? So understanding people, listening and doing all that. That's years. He doesn't want to. I don't know if he wants to put in that kind of work. So that's why I don't take Kenny Omega seriously, because he doesn't take wrestling seriously enough to be a wrestler. Doesn't take acting seriously enough to be an actor.
Which is crazy because he's mad talented in the ring.
Yes, he is. I have never doubted that. I've never doubted he. It drives me nuts because he does the 9-year-old girl and flies around for her, and the blow up doll and all that stupidity. That drives me crazy. He's mad talented though, but like I said, not wrestler enough to be wrestler, not actor enough to be actor, and those are the things that drive me crazy. Again, we're gonna go to the Jay Cutler route. You watch Jay Cutler, you know You see some of the great throws he's made. He's so good, so good. But then you also see the stupidity and know he's not working.
Yeah.
That's why I say to use the example of Jay Cutler. It's
So you
because
look so you look at Kenny Omega and you think what could have been.
yeah. Oh, there's a tennis player named Gael Monfils who I like. You need to see. I'm going to show you some things of him. Some of the fancy stuff he does is unreal. Just the athleticism and everything, but never got past like number 8 in the world. And you just look at how he moves around. He could be one. It's just
Oh,
he could be one. Yeah, I'll show you. I'll send you the clip sometime. It's just his the way he moves, unreal. But and so I'm saying I don't have a respect for the ones who have it all and won't give it. Because a
yeah,
lot of people have to work their heart out to be, I'm just saying, Tyson Bagent.
yeah.
They have to work their tail off. And that's not a bad thing. Tyson Bagent just started in the NFL, which very few will ever do.
You know what the
But,
crazy part is? Bajent probably finishes that game yesterday.
yeah, yeah. There's no question about that. You're right. Because of that thing. But what I'm saying, Tyson Bagent isn't as skilled, but he works.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there's ones that have it all and don't put the work. Those are the ones that drive me nuts.
Like Kenny Omega. Okay. And then and then the main event of this outstanding pay-per-view was for the AEW World Heavyweight title. So a little backstory. After the tag team title match, MJF was viciously attacked. He had a chair shot to the leg. And then they carted him off on a stretcher and they carried him to the hospital. Adam Cole was in front seeing him off. And MJF was like, hey, take my spot. Don't let him take my title. And so they changed the card to Adam Cole defending the title against Jay White. Mind you, Jay White stole the championship belt and was parading around with it for like the last 5 weeks, which I'm not a freaking fan of or anything, but whatever. That's why I admire that time in WCW when DDP went and stole the United States Championship from Kurt Hennig, and then JJ Dillon went to the locker room and got it back and told DDP, "Don't steal it, win it." And then that's
Yeah.
what he did at Starcade. Now you can say it's yours. Well, so anyway, they introduce Adam Cole. He comes down there, and then you see MJF pull up like Stone Cold Steve Austin style, and he gets out and he's limping toward the ring, and he decides to take his spot in the match and was like, "Hey, man, I got it." So they had a hell of a match. You know, MJF I thought did awesome selling the injured leg and everything. The way the ending occurred was, let's see, the referee was knocked out, and MJF called for the diamond ring. So Adam Cole put it on the ring apron so MJF could crawl to it. Jay White pulls him away and goes and gets the ring. MJF hits a low blow, gets the ring, knocks him out, 3 count. But so basically that's how the ending occurred. But the other half of the banner here, he is now going to officially cross 365 days as AEW champion. Is he already the greatest world champion in AEW short history? Mind you, this dude probably has had more title defenses in 1 year than even Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Oh, that's not hard to do. Roman doesn't defend that thing at all. I mean, he's remember they said he had 56 the title thing, and they
In
had
three
great title
years, yeah.
defenses. They're great title defenses, but he doesn't wrestle much. But no, the MJF absolutely is. And that I remember I was telling you from the get-go about Cole. That's coming. The turn's coming because he now has a reason. It's like he asked him to do it. Here comes, hold this for me. There's that belt right in his hand. You know what I mean? Don't let him lose it. And all of a sudden, here he comes, and it's like that could have been a situation in his head. I had it in my hand. I want it now.
Yeah.
And it's like, and meanwhile, this is going to make MJF even more despicably psychotic
Yeah.
because he trusted somebody for once.
For once, yeah.
He trusted somebody for once, and it's like, and it's like MJF again. He gets it. He gets it about wrestling. And it's like the big thing. Everybody keeps talking about you can't have the 80s. No, but no, you can't. Then you wouldn't want it because you don't want to match between Andre the Giant and Big John Studd in this era, ever. You don't want that. That would be that. I mean, You don't want that.
Well, that
But
was exciting back then because those were two huge men. It's like, all right, so who's going to hit the mat first? Because you could legit look at that a match like that, right? And it's like, all right, the first guy to hit the mat is not going to get back up. The other guy's going to win.
well, and that's the truth. But you want to know what ended that is UFC. UFC ended that the minute Manny Yarbrough got smacked upside the head and went over in one shot by a 200-pound man.
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, he was 600 pounds, like 670 or something, and he went over like a thing, and that ended that whole thing big time. People got to see. But the big thing about it, though, is you don't want that, but you can still take 80s ideas. You can still, because remember, people still go on message boards and comment sections and talk like Marvel's real. They still talk, they will still talk like old soap operas are real and talk like it's a situation. So if they can do that, they can do that with wrestling, which means you can make a real thing go. You can make real matches there, make them look real tough. You don't have to have this Marvel deal, the type of Marvel fights. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I said before, people come for that. I just don't understand it.
Yeah. Well, so outside of we're now on to our WWE news is pretty much, we do have the go home show, the Survivor Series. So those of y'all who aren't in wrestling discussions on Facebook, look us up. Feel free to join the group. We will have a live thread for Monday Night Raw tonight. But for the time being, added matches. So women's War Games has been set. Flair, Shotzi, Bianca Belair, and Becky Lynch will face Damage Control. And also added to the card, Gunther will defend the Intercontinental Championship against The Miz. Your thoughts on this?
I'll tell you how I'd exactly do the Flair thing. You know what I'm saying? For one thing, we know what Gunther's going to do. He's going to have a decent, pretty good match with Miz, and he'll do the squashing dead. It's just that's what Gunther will do. And Miz puts everybody over now. That's the thing. He's been around for so long. But you want to know what would be a tremendous story with that if anybody had a thought in their brain? Right in the middle. Remember Macho Man when he asked perfect? When he asked perfect, and all that kind of stuff like that to come through?
Yeah.
Perfect come through, and then everybody's like, he was good, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what do you mean when I was good? Blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. You get to that. Why don't you, since Damage Control is already mocking Bailey, why don't she get smart and come out? Why don't she get, like, they already kick her out or something like that, don't have to do that, and take Shotzi. And then all of a sudden she comes out, she's the fourth for the other ones. And then it's the four horsewomen. Then it's the four horsewomen right there. And it's like basically a trade with, and the thing is, you don't beat up Bailey. You don't beat her up. You just kick her out. She's mad. She can't believe it. And then right then and there. And then it's whatsoever. And then Shotzi goes to the Damage Control first. She's automatic. And then all of a sudden it was like 4-on-3.
Yeah.
Because she's been kicked. And then all of a sudden there's Bailey. And she comes out with the waving flying, because she is the hugging again.
I actually kind of hope she doesn't bring that back.
No, but she is Cena. She's Cena. She is a phenomenal babyface. I mean, she did way better as a heel than I expected, just because she has such a sweet personality as a babyface.
Right.
And she is a female Cena, and it's like, I absolutely would love. And I said, she doesn't have to do the waving arms thing, do anything, but she does need to bring back some of that thing again.
Yeah.
The absolute baby face, everything like that, and all that kind of stuff. And then you want to know what you could do later on? Bring in Izzy as a tag, and then Izzy turns on her.
Oh, wow.
Because Izzy's already a heel in Indies.
Yep.
She's wrestling. She's wrestling as a heel in Indies. So why not bring her in? They could tag together, and then the story goes Bailey, and then she has her hero, and then she turns on her.
Yeah.
She turns on her. And then there's the thing, and it's like turns on her and gets all that. It's like the reminder and stuff. It would be, there's just little things that I can think about in my head.
Hey, and you know what? we've all thought about storylines of what it could be this, it could be that. And let's face it, half the time we do better than the creative team that's already there. But we're gonna
Well, there's
finish
too
off
much
here.
creative team. There's too much. That takes too much time.
Yeah, it
I'm
is.
not saying that we do on the thing, but there's too much of it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need 6,000 writers, and just like on movie sets, you don't need a bunch of everything. You can make it efficient. You can streamline things and make the thing work.
Yeah, you can. Well, we're in our last probably 5 to 6 minutes. And of course, it's going to be our weekly finish or DQ. You know what? I'm not going to say nothing. I'm just going to let you read it.
Oh, it's awesome. Awesome.
Hard to pick a
Where
winner,
was
huh?
Oh, that's awesome. That's a War Games match. But here's the way that I do this. Here's the way that I do this. If it's in Canada, Heart Foundation wins. If it's in, it's 97. If it's in America, these four win.
Yeah.
They got to get it. They got to keep, because the Canada United States feud was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Again, part of my point of writers, the Hearts took over. Again, family. The Hearts took over that storyline. Family understands, just like the bloodline.
It's like the bloodline.
Some of the most amazing stuff in the world, there's no way a bunch of writers are coming up with it. A bunch of comedy writers are coming up with it. There's no way. And it's like there's no way, not when they come up with stupidity like the Stardust for Cody after it being an Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah.
Same guys are doing stupidity like that, really? That's my point. That's my point. You can streamline stuff and still have a big company. You can streamline things, and that's the thing. This right here, listen, all 8 can make their own match.
Of course.
All 8 can make their own match. That's just the thing. It's like, and by the way, the final is HBK and Brett.
Oh, the final two? Well,
yeah.
Well, it isn't. Remember, War Games isn't elimination. It's going to be all 8 in
I know. I
two.
get. You're right. I was thinking Survivor Series, but by itself, you have them worn out. It needs to be. I mean, Sean and Brett need to have the end of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you get that. And by the way, absolutely, positively, you have Diesel slam Anvil early and take him out. Because remember, that's the Rhino. He's the one that gets in the way of everybody.
He was the enforcer of the Heart Foundation.
Yeah.
And he legit looked like one too.
Yeah.
You know, like you're gonna have to go through me to kind of get to everybody else.
Well, it's why I love Brainbusters and Heart Foundation, because Arn and Anvil look both like enforcers.
Yes.
They're just a couple of tough guys. And no, but really, like I said, if that's in Canada, we know who wins. If that's in America, we know who wins. Those would be fun. That would be a fun thing. It's like I said. I just wish the situation. Sorry about that thing, by the way. I just wish the situation would go where people. I mean, we know there's big egos. We know the whole thing about wrestling. You just wish that there was egos for the self to have confidence. You know what I mean? You wish there was, and they did the thing. But because if you can withstand your ego, you have amazing feud with Brett and Shawn.
Yeah, right.
You have both of them. The egos went out of the way. You have a best of 3 with Hogan and Shawn.
Yeah.
You have, I mean, truthfully, you probably have a couple of matches with Hogan and Brock. Hogan could put him over twice.
Mm-hmm.
He did it for Rock, but he didn't do it for Brock. But I'm saying, egos get in the way, fear of losing spot.
Yeah.
But it's like, I told this to my boss one day. Some people are just great at their performance, and some people just aren't. And some people aren't, and they're teachers. The people that are great at their performance aren't teachers.
Yep.
They don't want to teach and give people the next level. And you wish they did, because then you could just seamlessly move on to the next world instead of 40 years of Hogan and Flair.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Regardless. See, here's the thing. If Flair put everybody over, but he still had a spot. So that's an ego too.
Yeah.
You move on. You all have the only reason Hogan's still not around is because of his injuries.
Yeah, pretty much.
Otherwise, those two would be in Saudi Arabia facing each other.
Yeah, they would.
Saudi Arabia, but they would be, and it's like, and that's just ego. You need to be old. When you're older, and you're an actor, if you're Michael Caine, you need to be like the old, like in one scene, the old mob boss, and behind the desk.
Mm-hmm.
Or Dick Van Dyke when he danced on the desk on a Disney movie. That's real. I mean, he had one scene. You
True.
need to be doing that when you're that age. You don't need to be the star anymore. There's why it's youth. Then you go on. You move on. You maybe seriously do it in life.
Yeah. Um. Well, before I finish up, I would say, because this actually was inspired by a post that was done in wrestling discussions. I don't know if you saw it or not. Now I mentioned '97 Heart Foundation, but I felt it appropriate to name the years of the first four. I would say give me '95 HBK. Later in '95, bearded HBK, Intercontinental Champion. Give me '96 Heel Diesel before he went to WCW.
Yeah.
Give me '94 Razor Ramon and '95 1-2-3 Kid.
I'll tell you
Almost
this:
said
any
'93.
level kid, he was just awesome. And
Almost said '93 Kid, brand new.
yeah, and and I will say this: I like, and like I said, when I watch Waltman, and any performance, any Kid, Pac, any of those, when I watch him, I don't think he is the one of the rare little guys that I don't think it's ridiculous if he's knocking a big dude over. If he's knocked Undertaker over, it's not because it's a whip leg kick.
Yeah.
And he's kicking on the leg, knocking him down. He's great from going underneath, but that's the thing. I don't think it's stupid. I thought it was stupid when Ray knocked him down. And Ray's great, but he's this big. But I think Ray is wonderful, but he's, what I mean? He's that big. I mean, even compared to Kid. And the thing is, but if you're going to be small, Shawn had the offense for big guys.
Of course.
Shawn had offense. If you are going to be small, have offense for big guys.
Right.
That can knock them over, that could do the thing, that take their head over. Have that. I don't like seeing Keith Lee bumping for no reason.
And you know what? That's the thing, because remember, this was still a time period when Vince McMahon was not a fan of smaller guys being world champion, but he had no choice but to throw the belt on Shawn because he was their moneymaker. Like, how do you not throw the belt on your top guy?
Well, he did that, and he also gave a tag team title and intercontinental title shots to Kid. And I think like at a house show during heel time, a world title shot. He gave that to Kid, who he would never done that before.
That was a Monday Night Raw. As a matter of fact, it's listed as one of the best main events in Monday Night Raw history. Bret Hart defended the WWF title against 1-2-3 Kid in a surprisingly back and forth match.
Yeah, and it's like, and those are the things, they're that good. It's like, I don't mind little versus big. I don't mind a thing. Have the offense to make it work. Have that offense to make that work, to get to that thing. Why don't just fly through the air and get that? I'm not going to believe that. It's like you can just throw them up like a fly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, shoot. We'll look at it like this. Even in boxing, right? Even in boxing, now everybody Mike Tyson, his face has been kind of taller and bigger than him, but like, no one has power like Mike. Mike can go slug for slug with those guys.
Well, Mike also went inside like Mad Dog. Then he hit your ribs like caved your ribs in.
Yes, he was a pit bull, but again, not everybody was Mike. If you're a smaller boxer, typically, like think. Okay, you remember that time Roy Jones Jr. won the heavyweight title from John Ruiz, and he gave up like 50 pounds to him. Now go and watch that fight. He wasn't looking for the knockout. He was trying to outbox that man.
Yeah.
And he was stick and move, combo, boom, keep it moving. Yeah, you got to have the offense for bigger guys.
Well, that's the thing. It's like we talked about old. Tyson's one of those that could face the top 100 today at his age.
At his age.
His movement is still ridiculous. His movement's still ridiculous, and it's like Would he face Tyson Fury? Oh hell no. We're not saying that.
Yeah.
But like top hundreds, like the days of what George Foreman did to make a comeback, he'd do the same as Foreman. He
Right.
wouldn't finish. He wouldn't finish because there's guys that he's just too much older now. That was 45, 42 to 45. But
Yeah.
the Tyson with like the top hundred, their boxers are not the same anymore. He cave them in still.
He would. Yeah.
Yeah, he cave them in still. It's like because there's not a lot of people that still do his duck and dodge the way he can.
True. And
Yeah,
another thing about with Tyson, everyone talks about his power because, well, let's face it, he could punch an SUV and all four, wheels would fall off. But what doesn't get talked about is that man's hand speed. Like Tyson was a power. He managed the rare feat of mastering slugging and boxing and actual boxing.
well, no, and I'll say this. That I still watch that Roy Jones Jr. match. Roy Jones been out 2 years. He'd been out 20. He'd been out 17 years. Tyson had been,
Yeah.
and I mean Roy'd been out 2, and he just crushed him in that exhibition. He just crushed Roy.
I remember that.
That was, I mean, Roy looked old. Mike still looked like Mike.
Well, also at the same time, Roy was bigger. Roy was clearly a heavyweight, but Roy had never fought at that size before.
Yeah, and that's all Mike knew. But Mike looked about a speed off only, and for 54, that's unreal.
That's
And
why
it's like
everybody was trying to get him to come back because they started seeing the training videos of him training, and they were like, "Shoot, dude, you still got it. How about an exhibition?"
Well, the big issue about someone like Mike is he'd do the exhibition, but someone like him, if he trained the same as he always do, you're going to see a 60-year-old trying to go. His mind would lose it. He'd try to go after like Tyson Fury, which
Right.
is stupid. But you see, but that's the thing about Mike. Mike needs to be taking his daughter to tennis, and needs to be going home and making money and doing ads and stuff like that. He doesn't. The world knows how tough he is.
Yeah.
His daughter knows how tough he is. His wife knows how tough he is. He doesn't have anything to prove. He doesn't need to. He knows it, so he's not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But I wonder if he feels the same way as and I'll end it with this. I wonder if he feels the same way as Floyd Mayweather, If it means making a buck, he might get in the ring for 4 rounds.
I'll tell you this though. I'll tell you this with the Paul brothers, so like Logan Paul. Shut up about Tyson. He makes his money. Unlike everybody else trying to get the paycheck, he makes his money outside of his endeavors.
Yeah.
He has his mind. Screw with him. Say something stupid about his family, and he's going to cave your head in.
Yeah.
Mike doesn't have a switch to turn off, on and off. It's why he stays away. It's why he tries to stay calm. It's why he does weed. It's why he does all that. He doesn't have that switch. You don't want to say stupid things to him to go get things like everybody else. Tyson's a stone cold killer by nature.
By nature.
Yeah, by nature. It's like if he keeps screwing with Tyson, he's not going to like what happens.
No, he isn't.
He's not going to like what happens because it's not just a boxing match. Maybe by boxing you can keep with a near 60-year-old man.
Now, did you see the exhibition between Floyd Mayweather and it was Logan Paul, right? Or was
Right.
It was, no, it was Jake. It was Jake, wasn't it?
Okay. Either way.
Yeah. Okay. I, I I don't know if you recall if you watched the fight, but Floyd caught him with a clean shot, and Paul was on his way down. Mayweather caught him and stood him back up.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen when Mike hits him?
Oh, Mike's not going to hold him up. Mike's not going to, especially if Paul gets him mad. And Paul likes to get you mad to go get money. Mike's a stone cold killer. Like I said, that's why he does weed. That's why he has a daughter. That's why he has a wife. That's why he stays home. Because his nature, if something would happen in a car wreck tomorrow with them, you're a dead man.
Yeah.
You're a dead man. That's my point. It's like, don't stay away from him if you want the career to stay, because you're not gonna be able to resist putting a few shots on Tyson, and you're dead.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, That about does it for our program. Thanks to anybody who took a peek in. And also, as mentioned earlier in the telecast, follow us on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, DBTV, and Stream TV. And for the pundit, I am the sniper, Denzel Snipes. And we will see you next Monday when we will have the Survivor Series 2023 recap. For now, enjoy Monday Night Raw. Some of you may watch Monday Night Football. I'm going to have both of them on, one on my laptop, one on my TV. Later.